And this is the party that's a small government party.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about something you've alluded to a couple of times in this conversation. You mentioned foreign policy earlier. You mentioned the swing states. Despite all of Trump's awfulness and Vance's awfulness, they could still very easily win. The Electoral College gives them a very good chance in places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I've been to Georgia recently. I know you have too. I went to Pennsylvania just the other day. I speak to a lot of people in Michigan, in Dearborn, Detroit. I'm Muslim American. I speak to a lot of Muslim Americans, Arab Americans, people of color, black pastors in Georgia, all of whom are outraged about what's happening in Gaza. And a lot of them are saying, we're going to sit at home. We're not going to vote Trump. We're going to stay home, or we'll vote Green, we'll vote third party. You shared a New York Times op-ed earlier this year on social media from my friend Daniel Levy, calling for a reset on Gaza from the administration. Does Kamala Harris need to break from Biden on this issue, do something different policy-wise? She's done better, I think, rhetorically.
Yes.
I think we can all agree. Does she need to do something better on policy, signal that she will be different, especially to win a key state like Michigan?
I do believe so. And I really think it really revolves around the idea of accountability and using our aid to Israel as leverage. I don't think we should be writing blank checks to any country that we're allied with. And that any kind of assistance we provide, any kind of weapons we send should come with conditions. And I think that's a very sensible way to conduct foreign policy. And we do it just about everywhere else.
Yes.
So let's do it there too.
And in the summer, in May actually, you collaborated on an Instagram post with Save the Children, calling for a definitive ceasefire in Gaza and a release of the hostages, which we all want. You said you and Chrissy had donated, I think, $100,000 each to the charity for Gaza. How devastating has it been for you both as parents to see how many kids have been killed in Gaza? At least 16,000, probably more. Thousands more have limbs amputated. Some of them have come to the US for treatment. I'm a parent, you're a parent. Forget the politics. Just seeing what's happened to children. What's that been like for the last year for you? I know you spend time on social media like we all do.
It's stunning to see it. And it also makes me very frustrated how easily we dehumanize certain people based on where they live, the color of their skin, their religion, whether or not they're allies with our country. No matter what political disagreements and political animus and anger we have at Hamas and the leadership in Gaza, those kids are innocent.
Yes.
And I don't believe in collective punishment, and I believe that their lives are just as valuable as Israeli lives or any other lives. And so I want foreign policy to be conducted with that in mind. I want philanthropy to be conducted with that in mind. And I want our news coverage of the situation to be conducted with that in mind, that these lives are just as valuable as any other lives around the world. And that means when we cover them, when we cover the stories, we center their humanity, and we don't just kind of gloss over it with just numbers, but we center their humanity just like we centered the humanity of the festival goers in Israel. And they were just there to enjoy some music, and it was horrific what was done to them.
Yes.
But it's also horrific for kids to get bombed in Gaza. It is absolutely horrific.
Well
and
said.
So we need to, as a society, as a world, equate those lives, equate the value of those lives.
100% agree, and well spoken. And you said dehumanization, and you're somebody who's tried to humanize Palestinians for a while. I remember watching you on Bill Maher several years ago come out on this, long before it was fashionable in Hollywood. But a lot of your fellow celebs, artists, won't touch this issue with a barge pole, despite the suffering we're all seeing in Gaza. We all agree, as you just very eloquently put it, what happened on October 7th was horrific. Innocent people killed. But when it comes, we can all say that, right?
Sure.
Happily. When it comes to Gaza, we're not all willing to say that. And I just wonder, you're here in LA, in Hollywood, you're a prominent figure. Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many people just don't want to touch this issue with a barge pole?
Well, they've seen people get punished for it. You know, they've seen people lose their agent or lose jobs from it. And I think some people are afraid of that possibility. They're afraid they'll suffer professional
You're not?
consequences. No, I'm not afraid. One, I believe in what I'm saying, and I feel like what I just said, who disagrees with what I just said? Like,
exactly.
what about it Like,
Touche.
you know, like, I would love for someone to come to me and say why what I just said was immoral, anti-Semitic, anything, because it's not.
It's not.
And anyone who's being reasonable knows it's not. But I understand why people might be afraid to talk about these issues because of professional consequences. But also, I think we all, and I have humility when I talk about this issue because I don't know it as well as I know a lot of the ins and outs of what's going on in the United States.
Yes.
I know what it means to be an American. I understand our system very well. I understand our history very well. And honestly, I don't know nearly as much about what's going on in Israel and Palestine, all the back and forth of the negotiations that have happened over the last few decades. You know, so sometimes we should make sure that those of us who aren't real experts on it have some humility about what we know and what we don't know.
Fair point.
And one of the things I keep as a rule for myself is I don't want to post something that I couldn't answer a follow-up question about. And so
It's a good rule.
let's make sure, like, if we're going to weigh in on things, that we do the work to prepare ourselves to answer a follow-up question on it.
You are being humble because you do know more than most on this issue, so we appreciate you for that.
And there you have it, a conversation that lays bare what so many in power refuse to acknowledge. John Legend, a global icon, isn't just using his voice for entertainment, he's using it for justice. Mehdi Hasan, one of a few journalists unafraid to ask hard-hitting questions, is holding leaders accountable, and together they expose the undeniable truth. What's happening in Gaza isn't just another conflict, it's a catastrophic moral failure enabled by global silence. Let's be clear, Israel, backed by billions in US aid, is engaging in collective punishment, a war crime under international law. Over 16,000 children are dead. That's not defense, that's a mass murder. The world rightfully condemned the horrors of October 7th, but why is it so difficult to apply the same level of outrage when Palestinian children are bombed in their homes? Why are some lives mourned endless while others are dismissed as collateral damage? Dehumanization. John Legend said it best. Every life should be valued equally, but Hollywood, Washington, that's a mainstream media. They've made it clear that speaking up comes with consequences. Agents drop clients, contracts disappear, and careers are destroyed. Silence is the easy route, but the cost of that silence, more dead children, more bombed out hospitals, more amputated limbs. People are watching, people are listening, people are done voting for leaders who fund war crime. So ask yourself, when history looks back at this moment, where will we stand? With the voices demanding justice, or with the cowards who let genocide unfold in real time? My name's Z, and thanks for joining me on Z's Political Couch. If you stand for the truth, if you're tired for the lies, like myself, please share, like, and subscribe, because we're just getting started.